everyone, and welcome to Big Red Homestead. I'm Josh, that's Caleb, and today we are literally one day away from the start of the Nebraska football season. Nebraska, Minnesota, tomorrow. We are going to be there, and we're recording this Q&A right before we head out. So long story short, today we're going through a Q&A, breaking down, there's already some interesting ones about the depth chart, Blackshirts, of course, the Minnesota game, some X factors, some players to watch out for, and looks like a lot more. So it's going to be a fun one right before the season. Caleb, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm getting a double dose of Huskers these next 2 days. Going to be in Memorial Stadium for volleyball day. That's going to be a blast. 90,000 fans packed watching some volleyball. It's going to be a special experience. Breaking some records, doing some Nebraska things. Not 24 hours later, we'll be on the road, headed to our favorite.
24 hours later, we'll be in a stadium.
In another stadium, cheering on Huskers yet again. And it's all on a weekday. It's wonderful. And that means that just our Saturdays just freed up to watch just a ton of more college football. Great weekend staring down the barrel.
I know, it's going to be wild. So, I mean, there's going to be a ton to talk about. Obviously, we're doing questions from the Discord, which, of course, go join the Discord down in the description. It's a welcome and open to anyone. Go check it out. And of course, also Patreon. There's prioritized questions in the Discord from people who are supporting on Patreon.
And the Patreon, we're going to have our first videos up exclusive for Patreon following this Minnesota game. And so if you want to see more of us, go check out the Patreon.
Yeah, we appreciate it for sure. So
yes,
with that said, I mean, let's just start here. There was a bunch of questions about the depth chart breakdown and the Blackshirts and some of our biggest takeaways from that, of course. And so there was a lot to take away going into this Minnesota game. And what to you were the biggest surprises right off the rip here with the Blackshirts and the depth chart?
You know, there was one guy missing, and that was Nick Henrich. I mean, he got one of the numbers because he does everything right, which made me first worried about Matt Rule. And then he didn't get a black shirt.
The Blackshirts, but he was on the depth chart as the starter.
Yes. And then didn't get the black shirt. So really surprising there, but I'm fine with it because I don't want to see him start that, to be honest. You know, he can fill in the gaps as a, one or two play guy, but I'd rather see, I'd like to see what Bullock could do. More
than likely, we're going to see both of them a lot. And it's still not sure, again, because of the conflicting reports here with him being the starter on the depth chart and then Henrich not getting the black shirt. Definitely strange. Long story short, I think we're going to see both quite a bit, though. Bullock, obviously the surprise, one of the big risers throughout the spring and especially into the fall. No one really knows what to expect with Bullock there, as John Bullock now has the number 5. So he has the number 5 and the start. So it's going to be a really interesting question to see how much Bullock can bring to his defense and how much of an improvement he is over Nick Henrich and what that split will look like for them. Because it's strange because Bullock was listed as a starter or as a backup behind Reimer actually on the depth chart, and then basically a day later or 2 days later was given the black shirt as a starter. So a little strange there. I guess we're gonna have to wait and see what happens exactly in game when it comes to snaps. So definitely strange to say the least.
Yeah, the other big surprise and, like you said, riser for this is Deshaun Singleton getting the black shirt, which is really exciting for us. We really need some new breakout players for this defense. Deshaun Singleton hopefully is that guy who can be that for us, that can kind of rise to be the cream of the crop and be a great impact for us.
Rule had literally talked about, he was just on a show for like 45 minutes and talking about a bunch of these things. And he said Deshaun Singleton was basically the biggest riser for him since he got here to camp. And he said he went from like the 2-deep guy to one of our best players. This is his exact words. And he even said, but even back in the spring, though, he absolutely loved him as a personality. He even said, like, in his first meeting with Singleton, he called Cooper and said, I think I might have a new favorite player. So I thought that was pretty funny. I made a note of it because I was like, that's really cool. And especially with Singleton replacing, being that guy filling in for Miles Farmer after he got kicked out. And I mean, of course, with Marquez Buford being hurt and apparently for the foreseeable future, because Rule also said that Buford's just getting to the point of being cleared for on-field work. So Rule said week 5, week 6, if not like the last 4 games of the year, and then getting a red shirt. So it's not looking good for Buford this season.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully as the season gets along, we can use both of them. Obviously, we need that depth. Yeah, another surprise was that Chief Borders got the black shirt over MJ Sherman and Jamari Butler. Again, they were kind of listed as an or, And then Chief Borders ends up getting the starter position. So while that depth chart came out, there was more to shake, more really to shake out. And it seems that Chief Borders is going to end up being the starter.
So Rule made it clear in the press conference, like when the depth chart came out, that it was based on alphabetical order. And so he didn't want to say that any of them were going to be the starter. He said all three are going to heavily contribute. And then Chief Borders ends up getting that black shirt. So obviously it means he's going to be the first one out there. But there's been a ton of hype around Sherm or MJ Sherman in fall camp. So most thought that he would be the locked in starter. So Chief ends up getting this black shirt. It's kind of surprising, even though, all the coaches have only ever talked about good things about Chief Borders as a personality on the team and a leader. So yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see. Again, these are all question marks on like how many snaps these guys are going to get. Like how is it actually going to play out on the field? So these are the things I am by far most excited to see in person in the game, and then going back and watching film and seeing how these guys actually perform on the field. So same thing there. Another big, interesting question mark was on the defensive line. Blaze Gunnarsson got his black shirt as well. And there was a question mark there about who exactly was going to start on the defensive line. With Gunnarsson getting the black shirt, that means Cameron Lenhart, the freshman, was also listed on the depth chart as the backup. So both are probably going to see a lot of playing time. And it's exciting for Lenhart. We saw him in the documentary series as one of the starters there. And so we kind of all assumed he was going to end up getting one of these depth chart spots. But yeah, for a freshman to get that type of playing time is really crazy.
Yeah, 100% agree. And that do with Dwight Boodle, DiCaprio's little brother, is the backup for Malcolm Hartzog, being a freshman who are making the depth chart. So that's exciting. It's fun to see some Nebraska legacy this soon. And the Look N had a nice little piece on Dwight Boodle as well.
Yeah, that was good.
That was really cool. So yeah, I'm excited for him. Another freshman that is also getting to see a lot of playing time is Tristan Alvano, who is somebody that we were high on this whole off season, and for good reason. We saw those 50-yard field goals in practice, and I'm excited to see it on the field. Again, the state championship game hits the five field goals, including some long ones to walk off and win the state championship. For Westside last year, he's in Memorial Stadium, so he's already made big kicks there for us. And again, for him to be it as a freshman, Matt Rule spoke a lot of high things, again, because our specialists are so good at Nebraska. He was kind of hyping him up, saying, if I need somebody to make a kick to win the game, he trusts Alvano to do it. So
yeah, I thought his comments were really good, because he said basically it's not about age. Like, he's a starting kicker for Nebraska, so he expects what a starting kicker in Nebraska would do. It has nothing to do with age, and he has full confidence that Alvano will make it happen. So yeah, obviously the other thing was Alex Bullock and Ty Hahn, both wide receivers who have been kind of climbing the depth charts this whole off season, are both listed there as backups. Well, Alex Bullock actually listed as the starter
over Marcus Washington,
which is interesting. Yeah. But that probably was because of the injury.
Yeah.
So, but Washington is back and healthy, and so Rule did say he'll be playing. So long story short, it's gonna be really interesting. Tons of questions heading into that game over the depth chart, and we'll have a lot of answers and way too much to talk about after the game. So that's gonna be insane. So shout out everybody who asked about that. All right. So with that said, the next question is from OG Hawk X1 on Discord. And then he asks, what do you think about the Arik Gilbert situation? So, oh boy, where do we begin? Gil, what are your thoughts?
Arik Gilbert was a Georgia transfer tight end for us who was still seeking eligibility. He had already transferred once. Yes, and a 5-star. This was a big dude. And again, he saw some playing time for Georgia. A very exciting transfer for Nebraska. Again, if he would have been able to play for us. And yeah, there was still kind of an ongoing thing with the NCAA. And then he was arrested on suspected burglary charges in a vape store where he stole like allegedly stole $1,600 worth of vape stuff. Although
there was a video, pretty incriminating, gotta say.
He was arrested on the spot during, so
not ideal, man.
Yeah, it's
a sad situation.
It really obviously
stinks. It's almost guaranteed he's not going to be on the team. Not a good situation. Unfortunate, missed opportunity for him. And of course, the Huskers aren't going to be happy about that either. And so the only positive is that he really wasn't expected to be a starter or a contributor this season. So from that perspective, we're not really losing any production. It's just more about the future potential that he had. So it just sucks. I hope that he can get back to, really making the best decisions for himself here, because that's just really unfortunate.
Yeah, hopefully he can turn it around for sure. Next question, we got David Chase 7715 on YouTube. What's the most obscure stat regarding Husker history with Minnesota that you know of? Oh, baby, do I have one. This is time for Trivia Corner with Caleb.
Oh, baby.
Oh, Josh.
Oh, I don't know this. So yeah, let me know.
What is Minnesota's worst loss in school history? How bad did they lose? And what team was it to?
I'm going to go out on a limb and guess it's Nebraska.
You know, that would be a great guess. And that is true. I'll give you a hint. This was a special year for Nebraska. 1983.
Oh.
So it was September 17th, 1983. The #1 Nebraska Cornhuskers, who should have won a national championship this year. Anyway, how many points did we score?
Dude, I have no idea. Lay it on me. I'm actually really excited.
We had 790 yards of offense in this game.
Oh
and
my
600 of them were rushing yards.
Oh my gosh. Were we playing NCAA 14, bro? What?
Irving Fryer cooked this game. He had 5 touchdowns. We beat them 84-13.
Oh my word.
So yes, we
that's a good stat.
kind of owned the Gophers.
So, okay, David, well, there you go. I mean, absolute beatdown. Okay, so Taken Aback, who is a Patreon supporter, shout out Taken Aback, asks, is Tristan Alvano hitting a 50-plus yard field goal in his first game?
Yes.
He asked on Discord.
Yes.
Just a straight up yes for you.
So I think that we're gonna test the leg early. I think there'll be some situations where we can risk it a little bit, and I say we're gonna make a field goal, a long one.
I mean, that would be wild. I would say no. I mean, I feel like odds are in my favor for a no. So I'll go with the no side, but you know, hey, I'd love to see it, obviously. But
yes,
this season, I'm in, but I don't know if it's going to be in a game like this, unless it would call for a really special situation or a game winner. Knock on wood, which you never know.
I'm in.
So then Willie 6982 on YouTube asks, which Minnesota player or players should we be most scared of? If we shut down Brevin Spanford or Chris Ottman-Bell, is it enough to win?
Brevin Spanford, it feels like a yes.
At the end of the day, though, Minnesota's won a lot of games when they throw like 4 passes. So you just never know. You never know.
I mean, it's Sean Tyler for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I think we should be most scared of. I mean, Tyler Nubin on the defensive side is, of course, the factor there. And then other guys on the defense side like Coden Lindenberg and some of their new cornerbacks are interesting guys. But the offensive side has a bunch of interesting transfers as well that I think at the wide receiver position, they have a lot of depth at wide receiver actually for a Minnesota team.
They do.
Which some years they've had good depth, some years they haven't. I mean, this year it's pretty good. So Chris Ottman-Bell, Daniel Jackson, and like you said, I mean, Sean Tyler, without a doubt, it's going to be scary. So Jano2K asks, Minnesota played Syracuse in the bowl game last year. Does them having some experience against this Tony White defense concern you at all? Which was a really good comment. I actually, I don't know how I missed this and didn't piece 2 and 2 together, but I went back right when I saw this comment and watched the game and watched like 30 minutes of highlights and really went through the film a little bit. And it was really fascinating. I thought they attacked him really well. I mean, what are your thoughts? Like, do you feel like this is an X factor? That's something we probably should have mentioned in the video.
I mean, it helps. It definitely helps for sure. Athan didn't play. Again, he didn't throw a ton, but he was effective. He only threw 9 times, was 7 of 9 for 80 yards.
Yeah, they used both quarterbacks in that game.
It's crazy as John Michael Schmitz didn't play, and they won.
Yeah. Actually, the Bo we talked about in this game filled in for him. So, I mean, there are a lot of similarities, and it probably doesn't hurt. I think it is actually an X factor and something that makes me a little bit even more scared for this game. But there was a lot of like really weird things that happened. Like Syracuse threw a pick 6 in the 3rd quarter. And I think Syracuse had like 470 something yards.
They threw it away.
And Minnesota had like 215 and Minnesota won. So
they got kind of lucky. I mean, Syracuse held Minnesota to 2.3 yards per carry.
Yeah, 215 total yards.
So that makes you really excited. Again, that 3-3-5 did a good job against them. It was just some big mistakes. Like you said, a pick 6 that really set this game.
And it was a huge kickoff return that went to like the Minnesota's 25 or Syracuse's 25.
So it's the 3rd phase of football there. I mean, it made it 28-20.
But to me, it was just really interesting to see how Minnesota tried to attack the defense. They let Kaliak Manis really throw towards the sidelines and try to find space with some dump offs to the flats or run some nice slip screens like Minnesota does. So I thought they were attacking the space fairly well. But even that considered, they didn't move the ball that efficiently.
No.
So, yeah, I mean, overall, it was a mixed bag, but really, really insightful, actually. I wish I would have saw that before in the predictions video because there's a lot to learn about how Minnesota might try to attack the Nebraska team. which will be interesting to see how the similarities look tomorrow. So with that said, Samuel W on Discord asks, how many total yards do you think Nebraska's running backs will have in this game?
Not 600 like we did in 1983.
Dude, what a pessimist.
I know.
Unreal,
Not
bro.
quite 600. Is this counting Sims or no? So no Sims?
No.
No
I mean, Sims is probably going to have a decent chunk on his own.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, we'll have like 150 or so. So I think we're going to have like 120, maybe like 115-ish total yards from running backs.
Yeah, I'll go over that. I'll go like 145.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, how much we try to run the ball in this game and how much we try to smash it, no matter how effective or ineffective it is. Really, really fun to see.
Yeah.
Grandster88 asks on Discord as well, what's one overall team change you want to see this season?
Winning. I'd like to see us win.
That would be nice. Yeah, I mean, that would be pretty good.
Stop choking. I'd love to see that. Bryce Benhart to either get good or we find a replacement. Those are some things I'd like to see.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the offensive line is the first thought, or a more athletic, well-rounded linebacking core. I think would be just game-changing for us and give us a pretty elite defense if we actually had something like that. It's like if Bullock was like a legit player, I mean, that would be huge. Or if MJ Sherman or any of them, Chief Borders breaks out, suddenly we're looking really good. So to me, I'm keeping my eyes on the linebacking core for this defense for sure. Okay, so Rush Gamma asks on YouTube, let's say we went the 7-5 everyone is hoping for or predicting. What would you guys expect for the next year's result-wise? So in a world where we go 7-5, what would be the expectation for next season?
I think like you beat one of those ranked opponents and maybe you add another win. So you can hopefully find like, or even a similar result of like a 7-win season, but you beat a good team.
Well, I mean, next year, the thing is the schedule next year is probably going to be brutal. I mean, more than likely, right?
So brutal.
Versus this season, I mean, who knows? You could replace a Northwestern and a Purdue with Oregon and UCLA. And suddenly you're like, dude, like we're just hoping to get 6.
Yeah, dude, I'd be happy with a similar result, honestly. And then we just keep looking better and then just kind of keep chipping away toward those Wisconsins and Iowas and Ohio States. I'm fine with that, honestly.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think 7-5 with a way tougher schedule, I'd be okay with. I wouldn't love, but I'd be okay with it. But to be fair, if we went 7-5 this season, I'd be pretty hyped. So that is really hyped. So to be honest, 7-5 next year with a way tougher schedule, I'd be fine with. So our final 2 questions here. One is from Dion Pryor 369, who asks, who is your favorite player from a team you hate? And Whiskey Banger asks, who's your favorite offensive and defensive players of all time? I would assume from Nebraska. Who's the favorite player for a team you hate?
Well, I mean, for me, it's like hate is like everybody that's not Nebraska. So, and there's different, like, not that I hate every other team, but, it's just like I root for Nebraska. And then there's other players that, I think that are interesting from other teams. Yeah. Obviously, one of my favorite memories is Christian McCaffrey versus Iowa in a beautiful Rose Bowl.
Don't get me started. Yeah,
and,
dude.
I don't hate Stanford, but boy, do I love Christian McCaffrey after that game. I mean,
it's so
punt
true.
returns for touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, catching touchdowns. I think the man could have passed touchdown. That man deserved the Heisman, by the way. And so
that is a good answer.
He showed that. He wasn't a Husker, but boy, did he feel like one that day.
Man. Okay, that's a really, really good answer.
I'll stall with some of the other greats. I mean, watching RG3 and Tim Tebow and all those other guys.
I mean, again, if I had to pick a favorite college player of all time, it was probably Tim Tebow at the time. Yeah. But man, I to be fair, I did also love Cam Newton.
Oh, he was so cool.
Yeah. So
anybody that was taking down Alabama, though, I think was kind of a hero. Even like Johnny Manziel, right? Like at the time.
One recent one would be Devontae Smith, just because as a wide receiver winning the Heisman, I was really rooting for Devontae Smith. And also I really banked on him in Dynasty Fantasy Football. And so, that worked out well. Nice. So I do love me some Devontae Smith. And I definitely do not like Alabama. So that's a pretty decent answer.
AJ Pearson was pretty sick.
That's a good answer too.
Yeah. Even though not an Oklahoma fan, but man, AP, he was something else to watch in college. He was so good.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Okay, so Kyler Murray would also be another one. I did like Kyler Murray a lot. Okay, so Who are your favorite offensive and defensive players of all time for Nebraska?
I think the defensive one is just really easy. I mean, it has to be Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah. Although I could also say Prince Amukamara. And he actually just retired from the NFL. So
Levante Davis is a solid answer.
Yeah,
I guess it's harder than you think.
It is.
But Suh's iconic.
Yeah, it's hard to beat. On the offensive side, there's a lot of really good options. I think the first ones that come to mind would be Zach Taylor, Maurice Purify,
Kenny Bell,
and Rex Burkhead. Yeah. And then maybe Amir Abdullah. I don't know. Yeah. All of those are options. I'd probably pick Zach Taylor just as like a childhood memory that I loved.
Kenny Bell was just so cool at the time.
One last thing then is just, do you have any other bold predictions or thoughts on this Minnesota game that you want to get off your chest before tomorrow?
I think Gabe Ervin's going to have a good game. I really do.
Really?
I think that, he's going to do some good things. I don't know if it'll be 100 yards, but I think 100 yards total. I think that he'll.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a really good game. I mean, I could see a world where he finds some passes out of the backfield and makes some plays. I mean, he's been a pretty decent pass catching running back for us recently. So at least we saw it in some of those highlights.
100 yards. That's my bold prediction.
Okay. All right. I like it. I really do think Jeff Sims is going to be a hit, though. If I had to make a bold prediction for this season, I would say Jeff Sims is going to be a star and one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten, like the third best quarterback in the Big Ten. But
oh, man,
I really think he's going to be a beast. So I hope I'm right.
Well,
the biggest question mark will be INTs.
Josh and I will be walking out of that stadium with a big W.
We'll see. It comes down to the run stop, though, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how much we can tackle.
So with that said, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. A little bit shorter than our average video. Thank goodness. It's a miracle. But if you guys did, drop a comment down below. And again, join the Discord. And we really would appreciate if you guys support us on Patreon. Exclusive content coming your way. You'll see the highlight video or a breakdown of the game film from the Minnesota game and reactions to PFF grades and a lot more coming on.
Oh, yes. Can't wait.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. On there. And also a reaction to Colorado's game film as well. They're playing TCU this weekend, so that's going to be a fun one.
Merch coming soon, too. Ooh.
Yes, be on the lookout for that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Drop your comments down below and give us your hottest predictions for this Minnesota game. And
I cannot wait.
Without further ado, guys, I'm Josh. That's Caleb. This has been Big Red Homestead. And guys, we will see you next time.
Go Big Red.
Go Big Red, baby.